So we got to China expecting to get these new motors. Our samples worked and there was no reason to be concerned. But we got the motors. We did everything you would normally do, setting the motors up using our production tools, and they didn't work. So we started scratching our head. What is wrong with the motors? So
day today, we're testing the new board with the new motors. I think everyone's super excited.
I'm excited just to go on a ride though. E-tray. We're doing BLDC detections, initial on the new motors, and FLC detections. And so far so good. And the next test is just a current test.
So both motors are working?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We should be able to ride this in like 5 minutes. I think we did it, boys. What this test does is it runs current through the motors for a set amount of time, multiple times. It just tests all the systems.
Brake as hard as we can from high top speed, see if weird shit happens, and then find a hill and hit it maybe 10 times, and just make sure there's no temperature anomalies, and then that's it.
Because we'll bring these two boards with the old and the new motors and
do the
run an exact same test and see
Okay.
what our temps look like. Yeah.
Yep.
Are you excited?
Oh yeah, so excited.
Just the bad boy?
That's the good boy.
This is a good boy. Okay, so this board, we've just built this board. It's got the new motors in it. We've done a whole bunch of bench testing and whatnot to make sure everything's working. But really, the most important thing is, will it actually work with a rider on it? Will it perform how we want? We need to basically make sure of all those things. And then we give the motor factory the green light, and they put all of our motors together, ready for assembly in a few days. So, wish me luck. I don't know if I'm in. They feel maybe like they've got more torque. Yeah, maybe just like, it just feels like the power's a little bit more, I don't know, I mean, it's hard to know because it was crazy torquey before.
Yeah,
Man, it brakes smooth.
we had a little bit of an issue actually.
Really?
Yeah. Something's either faulting or I don't think the motors are shorted because a shorted motor wouldn't spin. Yeah, no, I don't think they're shorted. I mean, we have like maybe 2 or 3 possibilities. It's outwheels, one which is physical, we'll check it. Software, maybe because the stators are bigger, I think Jason said. So we just have to take it apart and see what's up. It might just be software because they're totally different motors. The third option is there's the thermistor might be messing with the vests. That's why we're here, man. Better to do it now before we make 500 motors.
Yeah, well, if it's heating up, right, we'll heat up.
Okay, so essentially what we just did is we just loaded a different firmware on just to try to narrow down if the problem was in the firmware. So right now, I am just gonna go ahead and test the firmware. If it all checks out, we'll take it out. We'll do about 4 to 6 runs, which is approximately what it took for the old firmware to show the problem. If it does show again, we know that the problem lies in the motors. And if it doesn't show, then we know that we need to fix our software.
No, that's good.
It's not as bad, but you can actually probably keep your hand there. Let's compare. Ooh! Fucking hot! Yeah, let's keep doing tests until this fails. I don't want to get excited yet.
So we got to China expecting to get these new motors that are made by a different motor factory. We expected to get them, put them on the Raptor 2, have no problems, which I guess is a little bit naive. But, you know, our samples worked and there was no reason to be concerned. But we got the motors. We did everything you would normally do, setting the motors up using our production tools, and they didn't work. So we started scratching our head.
We are testing our second set of motors because we had 2 set of sample motors made before production. So we've got some more parts here. Jason's off working on our axle modification, and go ahead and install our motors directly on, and that way we have essentially the same board as our previous test board. We're just going to try to replicate it essentially. That's all we're trying to do. We do believe we've got that software dialed down. We're just waiting for the battery to recharge. If that charges back and we test positive, we're going to replicate the same software settings in this. And if it tests positive, we know it's a software problem, and we'll modify the software and continue with motor production.
What is wrong with the motors? First, we thought, maybe it's like a mechanical problem or an electromechanical problem, to be more precise. Something with the winding, something with the Hall sensors.
We've altered a lot of the temperature cutoffs as well.
Something inside. That probably would have been disastrous for this whole trip, because maybe we wouldn't have been able to solve that problem.
Okay, we're hoping that, first of all, ideally, we're hoping there are no faults. Yeah. And that it just rides butter and we're good. Yeah. Secondly, we're hoping that if there is a fault, that they both have that same fault.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping.
Let's just hit it hard 10 times. You know, that's enough of it.
It just feels like, see, they're a bit hotter now, Jace. Feel. So we're just checking our temperatures, making sure that we kind of hit that point where our temperatures aren't getting any hotter. And once we reach that point, once our motors are kind of constant temperature, we can kind of adjust our software to that. So 50,
56 at the axle, 68,
yeah, 68.
right on the core.
I'm reading actually 60 now. Oh, actually 70. 70.
Yeah. We're basically back to where we were exactly. Where
we
had
went back.
faults, but we've adjusted the temperature for the thermistor faults. Yeah, it should heat up real quick. There should be no faults.
It's not only the settings in its firmware. Something's wrong with its firmware.
Yeah.
It's the same. They're doing the same thing, which is awesome. Sweet. And they happen at the same time, like within one lap.
Good night. See you in the morning. In the end, after several hours, a few days actually, of testing and going through it, we realized it's just the software. Can't send him that data.
Yeah.
Get him to update that, plus the thermistor cutoff problem should be solved.
Should be. I think we solved it, boys.
I totally forgot about that. The software that we have is just not set up for these motors. It's set up to make the previous motors function. We started drilling into that and realized, hold on, this could actually be some of the root cause of some of the customer complaints we've had about motors not quite taking off smoothly. The first batch of Raptors, you'd stand on it, you'd accelerate, and it would be smooth as butter. And recently we've had people just saying that that's not the case, and we couldn't really work it out until now.
So it's not an extra step. It's just normal.
Just changing XML.
Just got to change the XML.
No stuttering.
No, it sounded really good.
So it's good, it's great news. We've found why people have problems. We've also basically worked out why our new motors aren't working smoothly as well. So overall, good news, but incredibly frustrating, incredibly scary, because we came all this way to make boards and nearly can't do it. That's what we're thinking anyway.